Is this the Bitcoin dump crypto has been waiting for? There's a lot of major news to digest today, so keep an eye on the charts. Everything is going as planned, and as you might imagine, I'll ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more videos, and the icon of a notice on. There's a lot of huge crypto news out again, the markets are down, and we're seeing more and more adoption, which we'll cover in the headlines in a minute, but to look at what's going on in the world. We've got the Reserve Bank of Australia keeping interest rates on hold and ending stimulus as the Australian economy recovers, and we've seen that with the United States this week as well. They're planning to raise interest rates in March, so we'll see what happens if they actually do it, and inflation has also increased. As previously stated, the board will not increase the cash rate until actual inflation is sustainable within the 2 to 3 target range of 2 to 3%. While inflation has increased, it is too early to conclude that it is sustainable within the target range. So, looking at our roadmaps for the financial markets and the property markets into 2026, this still leads us to our market peak. El Salvador is usually in the crypto news for something positive, such as Bitcoin becoming legal tender or opening up the volcano to mine Bitcoin. But in this case, we're looking at El Salvador's downgrade. New York-based Fitch Ratings has downgraded El Salvador's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to CCC. Fitch raised concerns about the uncertainty of external financing sources, including Bitcoin bonds. Bring this up because if something happens to El Salvador and they are unable to repay their debts, it will be bad for cryptocurrency. However, this does not imply that crypto and Bitcoin will fail in the long run, so while I see this as bearish for El Salvador in the long run, I still see crypto and Bitcoin as bullish regardless of what happens in El Salvador. I bring it up because if something happens to El Salvador, it will look pretty bad in the short term and may keep a lot of new investors away from the space when we could have a great opportunity. If something bad happens to El Salvador, and they are unable to obtain their loans from the IMF, they have been in talks for years to obtain a $1.3 billion 3-year program, so they have been in talks for nearly a year now to obtain this money in order to repay some other loans. And if they don't get it, it's not going to go well for them. A deal with the IMF would help cover the government's financing gap, and likely unlock other multilateral loans, so they'll need this in the near future. And, of course, the IMF is unhappy with El Salvador accepting Bitcoin as legal tender, and they're urging them to abandon it. They're caught between a rock and a hard place at the moment. Now I can stuff you full of hopium. According to a Wells Fargo report, it's not too late to invest in cryptocurrency. Here's the report, and using their S-curves for technology, we have crypto all the way at the bottom here, and if we compare it to, say, the internet or cell phones, which are these two lines here, they're telling us we're still in the early stages. Just because we're in the early stages, doesn't mean we won't experience booms and busts of huge hundreds or thousands of % gains with 80, 90, 99 losses, as we recently saw with the internet over the last 20 years, but of course it's recovered again. As for the money flowing into cryptocurrency, it hasn't slowed and has only increased. Crypto EMA surged nearly 5,000 in 2021, and the average deal size has more than tripled from 2020 to $180 million. So the total value of crypto-related mergers and acquisitions increased to $55 billion in 2021, up from $1.1 billion the previous year, implying that they had $1 billion one year and $55 billion the next, indicating that a lot of money is still coming into the space. And it's being strongly supported by companies like Robinhood. What does that mean? Well, they have a path for Robinhood to go global and have the most traction is probably through crypto. So going global with the Robinhood brand and then trading with crypto is the first thing they want to look at. Total number of users grew to 22.7 million by the end of 2021, but monthly active users dropped to 17.3 million. When the markets are down, most retail new investors leave. When the markets are up, the idea is, if it's going up, I should buy now before it gets more expensive, rather than flipping it and saying, I should buy when it's cheap and wait for it to go up. Following the adoption digital euro legislation planned for next year, the European Union will formally consider legislation relating to a digitized euro in 2023. Forbes receives $200 million from Binance as part of its New York Stock Exchange listing. Binance will assume half of the $400 million commitments from institutional investors announced in August, effectively making it one of the publication's two largest owners. Now, why is this significant? Well, if you own the media, you probably own the narrative, so CZ knows what he's doing when he's looking to buy publications. If you haven't heard enough about Crypto.com, This week it acquired the naming rights to the F1 Miami Grand Prix. With the amount of crypto influx in Miami, it appears that many of us will have to relocate there at this point. Crypto.com has agreed to a 9-year deal to name Formula One's newest race. Let's take a look at the technical analysis for Bitcoin and the majors. Pay attention to the dates. The 12th and the 13th is what we've been covering for the last few days. This has been the critical level for the market to get above and also shows some consolidation above those levels. For Bitcoin, we have gotten above that level, but we did not close significantly above that level. We have fallen under. However, this does look like a pretty good leg up. This looks like a nice movement to the upside. Short correction to the downside, another nice move to the upside, short correction to the downside. So although we're down 2.6 on the day and the previous day was down 2. This is what you want to see for a healthy leg up, and this is looking pretty good because we're also down, or we're above the downtrend, and we're looking to consolidate now before we attempt the 46K. Get back into this trading zone between 46 and 52 before we can then attempt the major level, the major area that we're looking for Bitcoin to break through to give us that longer-term bullish flip. The correction overall is looking pretty good for Bitcoin, potentially Ethereum, and of course some other cryptocurrencies, but pay close attention to where this correction ends. Does it go lower than the previous low, or does it remain higher and start to work its way above and break some new highs? That is the bullishness that we can find from this correction. Stay tuned. Hit that like button. Subscribe down below, bell notification icon on, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.